Hey everybody, how's everybody doing today? Welcome to my Tuesday live stream where we talk about photography and catch up on what's new. And I just like to see everyone again, even if it's only through the chat section. But I do want to do a live stream sort of collaboration where I have a lot of you guys, viewers, come in and be, in the stream with me live. So if you're interested in doing that, send me an email. I know a few of you already have. I'm really excited to have you on with me, but I'd like to get just a few more people. I think only 3 people have reached out at this point, so maybe the word's not out yet. But so many of you have so much experience with, photography, but not just photography, life in general. And I think it would be fascinating to get to know more about each other and share with the community, who we are. And because I do get emails time to time from some of you, and I'm just always amazed at the things that I read and the life you lead. And it's not like you guys are bragging about your life, but you like to kind of qualify anything you say about my streams or my videos. And I really appreciate that, because anybody can come up and just say, oh, you make great videos, right? But then when you kind of qualify, say, I have experience in this industry and I've been doing this for 20 years and your videos are the best, and it just means so much more. And I really appreciate you taking the time to tell me. So don't be shy about your accomplishments, or I should say modest about your accomplishments and what you've done, whether it's photography related or not, because it's I think it's important to share our life experiences and pass that on to others if we can. Any advice or recommendations that we can give to make our lives better. And like I've said before, photography has immensely improved my life and my fulfillment of life. Being able to just go out and enjoy things more. And I really want to share that passion and that joy with others, And to that end, I started teaching free classes on the weekends. So that's why I wasn't able to stream on Sundays. So Sundays are going to be a little rough for me now that I teach classes on Sundays. Maybe Saturdays too, but so this will probably be my new time or day, I should say. The time slot seems okay. 10 a.m. works well for me, at least the rest of the day free for me after I finish. But so for those of you that are here now or watching later, look for me on Tuesdays now instead of Sunday. I'm sorry about the change, but weekends are pretty busy now. I spend so much time prepping for the class. I feel like a legit teacher now, right? Because I got this binder I created for my class, which is impossible to see with the green screen on. But I did a class on flash photography yesterday or day before, and then I did one on the mode dial, and then I got a little feedback. I don't know. For me, this is like, it's really, I really get a lot of fulfillment from teaching others photography, and doing it directly in class has been very, very rewarding. So that said, let's see who's here. And like I said, I'm not like not going to make videos anymore. I'm obviously going to make some more. I just need to kind of build up my curriculum a little bit more. It takes a lot of time to develop a legit curriculum for a class. And I get feedback, afterwards. I hand out a little thing for feedback to see how I can improve. And I think about what I'm doing in the class. And the key thing, the main problem I'm having with teaching is I feel like I need to be able to deliver more succinctly what I'm trying to teach. It's not like I go off on tangents all the time, but you know how my videos are already, some of them are like 30, 40 minutes long just to teach, something about a super control panel. It's translated into a classroom to take like 2 hours to teach like something. And any individual subject can be huge, right? Flash photography, I just touched on some basic things, but even those things are huge. There's so many variables. But I was so happy. I got such terrific feedback on the class, and I really appreciate that. I don't know if anybody in my class is actually here in the live stream, because I don't push my YouTube channel or Instagram or anything in the class. I just I have a little page at the end. I have handouts with exercises in them. Just on the very last page, there's a page there, how to contact me, and then my social media stuff. But I don't even mention it in the class, so I don't know if there's even anybody here. But if you are, welcome. Give me shout out that you're here. I'd make me very happy to know you guys are here. Anyhow, let me see who's in here now. System Mature, good to see you. And Chan. Awesome, from Malaysia. Yeah, I went to Malaysia once about 20 some years ago. It's actually, I think, one of the last times I was on an airplane was in 1999. So what's it been, 22 years since I've been on a plane? But anyway, Michael's here. Good evening from Thailand. Let me think. No, I haven't been to Thailand. Roberto, never been to Australia. Oh, you got your jab and it's giving you some chills. Yeah, I got the Pfizer one, which is, I didn't have any side effects at all. My arm was a little sore, but that was it. So hopefully you feel better soon. Should be over in a couple days. And John Yutse is here. Hi, John. Thanks so much for your recent donation. I really appreciate that. Every little bit helps, and it helps me a lot more than a lot of you may realize. Let's see, John follows. Good to see you from rainy England, Manchester. And Ramat Rasayan from Indonesia. Wonderful. Never been there. I don't travel much, unfortunately. And Thomas from Atlanta, 23C. Wow. Yeah, 90. Yeah, it's in the 90% plus humidity range over here. But I don't know what we are in Celsius. It's 77 degrees in my house right now, but it's like 98% humidity, because I try not to use the AC as much as I can. And Leon is here. Good to see you. And Jerky's here. I'm so sorry if I pronounced this name wrong. Jyrki. It just looks like jerky to me, which I guess that's right. But if not, if you could put it in the comments section, a little phonetic spelling, so I can get that right. I always do my best. And then Sujana Rijab from Malaysia. Awesome. Wow, a lot of Malaysia folks here, and it's late there. I think you guys are like 12 hours off from me, so it's like 10 o'clock at night. Yeah, there you go. Very next statement. Jeff Painter's here. Good to see you. Jeff, you would be a great guest on the show. From the things you've told me about things you've done. And Moises is here. Awesome. Druid, I haven't seen you in a while, Moises. Maybe you've been in the streams, but I haven't seen your name come up on the chat. Maybe I've missed it. Druid's here. Has a question. Says, how do I share an image for editing? There is an image I've been struggling with. Does Rob do people images? Mine is a street. Yeah. This Thursday, I should be doing a live photo editing live stream. So you can submit your images to that for Thursday's live stream. I don't have the stream up yet, but if you look at my channel, you'll see last week's Thursday photo editing live stream. There's a link in that description there. You can submit it now if you want. If you want to do it that way, or you can wait till I post the one coming up for this Thursday. The one coming this Thursday, oh, actually, I have something I have to do Thursday. So I'll make it Friday. Let's make it Friday. So I'll do it on Friday. Yeah, I have to do it Friday because Thursday's booked. It's my nephew's birthday, so I'm gonna go hang out with him for a little while. And System Sure says, yes, time slot on Tuesday is good for me with the live chat unless weather here in London is sunny. Yes. If it's nice out, go out and do photography. Don't sit here and watch me. And Casper's here. Good to see you. Oh, thank you, System Nature. The classes are going well. Oh, thank you, Dave. David Taylor went to the class, and he gave me a lot of great feedback. I appreciate that. And I also appreciate your support as well. And I will take you up on that offer about the analog photography class. That's going to be super niche, right? But we'll see. Let me build up some momentum in the classes, and once I get kind of a regular attendance, I think then that might be a good time to do maybe an analog one, and see how many people show up. Maybe I'll be surprised, but I would be surprised if more than 3 or 4 people would want to come and talk about film photography. I have to give some thought how to do that. We probably have to do a combination class and photo walk, because in a class it'd be hard to, since it's not digital, I can't just put images up on the screen from my camera. You know what I mean? I'll give some thought to that, but I like that idea. As well as the other ones you submitted. I took the one idea already. I'm going to do a class on composition this weekend, because when you mentioned it this weekend, should I teach composition? I immediately, was like, whoa, yeah, I'm the last person you want to ask about how to do composition. But I started doing some research, and, I was like, well, these are very basic concepts. I understand. I can teach this, right? Rule of thirds, patterns, leading lines, all the basic stuff that honestly I had no idea when I started 9 years ago doing photography. Rule of thirds was like totally new to me. I was like, what's that? Oh, I see. They just move things a little bit over on this line or that line. I was like, okay. And yeah, I did start taking mildly better pictures, right? And then of course you have to have the caveat, you can always break the rules, as many photographs do. I mean, that's what's really frustrating sometimes is you see these wonderful images and it's like, wow, they didn't use any typical rules of composition that you could think of. They just have a very creative way of arranging things in the scene that are very pleasing somehow to come up with an amazing photo. So I'm going to have to integrate that aspect of composition into the class. And do you call that an advanced topic that beginners really, or is it really the most simple thing, right? If you see something you like, take a picture of it. I don't know. I'm going to give that some thought, but I do have the core things down that I think I can give some very productive advice on, because I'm not going to just say simply rule of thirds, right? I'm going to say, this is the rule, and show a couple examples, and then say, if you want to sort of give this image a little bit more bite or impact, add a little accent here. Look for little accents in the image that or little accents that will improve the image. Maybe a guy in a red shirt, standing next to a tree, in the background. I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to give some thought and develop the curriculum this week for that class. And Anand from Malaysia. Wow, a lot of Malaysians here today. That's amazing. Yes, Thailand, a great. I think Michael said you were from Thailand. Let me just double check. Yes, a great and colorful country. I got to tell you that I had a crush on a girl from Thailand probably 30 years ago. I don't even remember her name or anything, but I met her at one of these like radio parties. Nothing ever came of it. I was too shy. And Druids from India, lurker here. Learn a lot from you. Have one image I'm struggling with street with person. How to? Oh, I'm sorry. I already got that. So yeah, definitely Friday. I'll try and set that stream up. And Rob shoots photo. Oh my goodness, it has been a long time. Good to see you here. Arthur, awesome. Always good to see you, Arthur. Arthur is an amazing photographer, particularly for black and white. Uh, he does great work. If you check out his Instagram under the same name, he does amazing photography. And Roberto Di Donato, he's definitely he likes rule of thirds. Yeah, I can see that in your vlogs. I still haven't gone back to watch your most recent one. I got to do that today. I've been watching all the news that's been going on, around the world. It's heartbreaking. But Roberto has a great YouTube channel with vlogs. He has a great sense of humor, so you can look up his channel under his name there. And Marco's here. How you doing, Marco? Good to see you. And thanks so much for that box of stuff again. I am slowly disseminating those parts out, actually in my photography classes to people. Like I had a flash photography class, and I'm sorry, let me give some context to the conversation here. Marco sent me a box of like photography accessories, right? Flashes, straps, pads, I don't know, but just a bunch of stuff, a microphone, ball head. So I've given out maybe half of it, some of it in the class, some of it to people in the photo club, and they're very appreciative of it. I know David Crook's got a ball head, and I'm going to give him the microphone. And then in class, I taught a flash photography class, and there was a person there that didn't own a flash. They were looking to buy one, so I gave them the one that you sent me with the radio trigger, that little Neewer. So she really appreciated it. And what else did I give away? I gave away a couple other things. But anyway, the only thing I have left is, I think, like some kind of, I don't know, some kind of crazy clamp arm thing you gave me, and the Black Rapid strap. I'm gonna, when I do some more photo walks and things, I like to give it to someone that is looking for it or needs it, rather than just say I have this and somebody just take it, right? Because I don't want somebody to take it and decide they don't really need it and it never gets used. But for somebody that starts asking, what kind of strap to use and thing, because that comes up. It came up actually. Somebody was asking about straps before you sent me this stuff, and that would have been a perfect opportunity to give them the strap. But yeah, thank you for that stuff. I know they're going to good homes, basically. And let's see. And Marco has a great YouTube channel if you're into computers, called Hot Hardware. So do a search for Hot Hardware, and you'll see. And they do live streams every Wednesday, I think at 5 o'clock usually, on the latest gear and reviews and things. And I think if you like my channel or my streams, you'll definitely like Marco's and his partners there, because they have a very similar mannerism, right? We're very, God, we're almost like brothers, from another mother, so to speak. We could easily be brothers in terms of our personalities and things. We have so much in common. And I think a lot of people in photography do have very technical backgrounds, right? They're either in the IT industry in one form or another. And Marco's channel would be a great fit or great source of content for you in a very similar way that I do, but much better. They're much more detailed. They do all kinds of testing and, you know me, right? I look at a camera and say, oh, this is good, Yeah, get this camera. It takes good pictures. That's about the extent of my testing, right? I mean, I'm exaggerating, but Marco definitely and his team over there, they definitely go into a lot of detail, and they know their stuff inside and out. And every time I access my hard drive, I think about that conversation we had about accessing our hard drives wirelessly, right? And how slow and lethargic they are now. But you said it's just coming out now, or it's right around the corner, an easy way to access our hard drives with high speed. So I'm going to have to look into that again, because my hard drive collection is just getting unwieldy. I got 4 hard drives right now, 4 external hard drives hooked up to my laptop now, plus 2 internal. And it's still not enough to hold everything I want to have access to at any given moment, because I'm always looking for images now for my classes and things. And I'm like, oh, I know I took something like this. It'd be a great example, but it was in 2013 and I have to pull out a different hard drive and attach it. Yeah, Marco, you'd be a great guest on another live stream. Marco did a guest live stream with me a few months back on my channel, so you can find we did a live stream on computers and computers for photo editing, and I think most of it still holds, even though it's been a few months. The only difference is prices are a lot higher right now. And let's see. Randy is here. How you doing, Randy? And Randy, my goodness, Randy would be a great guest also on the channel. He has a YouTube channel where he vlogs, kind of vlogs. It's mostly, we never see your face though, Randy, but he drives around California and gives you a chance to see what California is like. Not so much in the cities, but more in the outskirts, in the deserts, and the kind of wildlife and things, and cactuses, Joshua trees, all that stuff, right? Rocks, sand. But it's fascinating. And he just posted a couple of videos about some of his favorite images, and also one about unplanned trips. So I haven't seen those 2 yet. Yeah, I know you posted 2, but I'll check them out. But it's under the same, his YouTube channel is under the same username, right along with Randy. And Leon's asking, did you manage to replace your thumb piece on your EM5 Mark III with Sugru? Oh, no, I haven't done it yet. I've just been lazy. I should do that today. I mean, now that you mention it, I should just, because I found the Sugru a couple of weeks ago that I had from before. And then I put it, I think it's in this drawer. I don't see it again. I'll have to go downstairs and look. Maybe I left it where I found it. You know how it is, I'm going to put this in a safe place and then you never see it again. Most Wednesdays, Marco says most Wednesdays, been slacking. Wow. Let's see. And Jerky says, one point I had some kind of problem to use the rule of thirds in every photo, even could be better, use some other composition. Maybe it happens sometimes even now. Yeah. You know, rule of thirds, you can't use it every photo, obviously. There are just some things that just don't lend themselves to that composition rule. But there's a few others. I can't think of what they're called. That's what I mean. I know what they are visually in my head, what kind of rules they are, the kind of lines and but the main thing I always look for in composition, yeah, I mean, I immediately my eye goes for a rule of thirds composition. That's always the first thing I look at, just out of habit. But then I look for balance and symmetry and patterns and little accents that would make the image a little bit more interesting. Of course, colors and separation and simplifying the scene. I mean, there's so many things that I go through in my head, and it's easier now because I made a little cheat sheet, and I'm going to do this for the class. I'm going to make a little cheat sheet of all the composition rules that I would recommend trying. And after a while, you don't need to take this cheat sheet with you anymore because you just know them, because you just because you go out and take pictures all the time, you just remember what they are. But the first I'd say it took me about 3 or 4 photo walks, or the course of 3 or 4 weeks, whatever came first at the time, before I was like, I don't need to bring this anymore. I know what to look for when I go out to a scene, because not every scene you're going to be able to apply any particular kind of composition necessarily, right? Not every composition is rule of thirds. Not every composition has a leading line. Not every composition or scene has patterns in it, or repeating patterns, or symmetry. But you develop an eye for looking for those things in your photography, and then at some point, if you're very creative and have a good eye, you can use those rules to break them, so to speak, right? Like this you might look at a scene and say, oh, this would be a great leading line composition, but what if I just pan a little bit to the left and include this one little thing and zoom in, that, and then all of a sudden that composition, which was originally a leading line composition, turns into a more powerful image because you put your own feeling into it, right? Like what you were feeling at the time when you were there, because there may have been something just a little bit off to the left that catches your eye, that has more impact. So anyway, I'm going to try and do that in the lecture in my class, but we'll see. Yeah, I need a multi-gigabit NAS. That would be nice. At the same time, maybe it'll make things worse. I hit the delete and everything gets deleted all at once. Because right now, the way I have it, it's like I have this drawer over here. It looks like I'm in this office with the IT crowd, doesn't it? The way anyway. So I label all my hard drives, what year, because I do everything chronologically, what year each drive has on it. So this has 2013, 2016, 2017. This one has 2014 to 2017. So there's overlap, right? So I have dual backups, basically. And this is 2013, 14, 15. So this overlaps this drive a little bit. But ultimately, I want to have 2 copies of everything, just in case one fails and I need to get to something. Not that it matters. Once I'm Well, anyway, yeah. So I'll always be able to look at them, and one day I'll curate all these and make a book. You know, Rob Treck's photography. uh, Pass my legacy on somehow after I'm gone, rather than just keeping them on hard drives. Right? Write a whole book. And Windows 11 is out soon. Yeah, I saw some thumbnails for that. If I get a update in the Windows update, I'll update to Windows 11. I haven't really watched any videos about it to see what Windows 11 is going to bring to the table. I take that back. I do remember one feature that I think will be really handy for me is being able to automatically snap windows. Like I can have multiple windows on one screen, and it'll automate that to some extent. Because right now I have to kind of drag and drop things, right, and slide and adjust. And they're supposed to have something. That feature would be kind of nice. Yeah, RAID 5 NAS system. Yeah, it would be nice to have, a RAID system where everything is double, right? It's automatically, you have dual backups. Oh, you're getting some new shoes on your Murata today, huh? Right? That's nice. Randy has a great car. It's a Marauder. I forget who makes it. I think it's a Chevy. Classic car. Oh, Roberto says you got a lot of video on your hard drive. I delete all my video after I make a video. I'll delete almost everything unless Ellie is in it. If Ellie's in the video, because when I vlog, I record a lot more than you guys see in the final edit. If Ellie's in it, then I'll keep it. Other than that, I just purge everything because it's just too much. I mean, video takes way too much room and space, especially now because on my little Insta360 thing, it records in 4K. Man, I don't publish in 4K. I don't think. I've been publishing in 1080p, but I record in 4K on that one little device because it's very handy to be able to crop in on certain parts of the vlog. An LT08 tape drive? I don't think so. My stuff is just not that important, for me to worry about hardcore backups. But tape and CD or DVD is probably, for archival purposes, I heard DVD is probably the best. It has like a 25-year shelf life. But I don't know if I got 25 years left in me. I have no idea, Roberta, how long YouTube keeps the videos. Oh, I got to talk about this a little bit. The Z9 and the ZFC are fantastic, and those fantastic lenses. Really starting to wonder if sticking with the Olympus gear is falling too far behind. I think the Z9, is. I don't think that's. That's going to be their top end camera, right? So it's going to cost a fortune. So it wouldn't be fair to compare that to, say, camera that costs 1/4 or 1/3 the price, to say that it's falling behind, very expensive camera. So that wouldn't be a fair comparison. But the ZFC, definitely is in that same price range, if not cheaper, right? And no question, Nikon has great lenses. So does Olympus, but no question about the lenses from Nikon. Um, but I talked about the ZFC because I went and I actually saw one, held it in my hand. I went to the camera store and I bought a Canon, actually. For those of you that didn't see that stream, I bought a Canon M50. And I'll talk about that. But knowing my gas problem and how much I really liked the photos that I saw of the ZFC, no question I would have bought that camera until I actually held it in my hands. And when I put it in my hands, it felt cheap. And I didn't like it at all. I think it's a gorgeous looking camera. And I'm sure it takes gorgeous pictures. But when I buy cameras now, I buy them for very specific reasons, because I just have too many cameras now. I can't just buy a camera willy-nilly anymore like I used to, because but anyway, the ZFC, the top is metal, the bottom is metal, but it's very cheap, thin metal. It didn't have any, it just felt like, you could poke it with a nail with your hand, just, it just didn't feel like good quality materials. In between the top plate and bottom plate, it's all plastic. And this is how they kept the weight down, right, on the camera. But it's all plastic, and the fake leather that they put on there also was a very hard plastic. It just didn't feel, it just felt like a toy camera, like a prop to me. It didn't feel like a real camera. And as much as I liked the look of it, when I saw the pictures, and I'm like, wow, I would love to go out and love to go out and shoot with this camera, because I feel like a camera can inspire you to go out and shoot if you like how it looks, right? I mean, I'm very vain that way. Like the Pen F, that was purely a vanity purchase. It's a very capable camera, but it was expensive. And at that price point at the time, there was a lot of other choices. But I bought that one because I just liked how it looked. And the ZFC is the same way. They have the Z50, which is essentially the same camera for a lot less. Well, a couple $100 less anyway. But I would buy the ZFC over a Z50 any day. But until I actually held the ZFC in my hand, I was like, ooh. Then all of a sudden I felt like I would not want to take this camera out anymore. Even though it looks really pretty, it just, and irrespective of the kind of images it would take, I don't think that's a problem. It's going to take gorgeous images, but man. So yeah, I didn't get it. So for me, when I do a camera purchase, the ergonomics and the feel that I get from the camera when I hold it is very important to me now. And Olympus has, Pen F aside, Pen F is just purely for looks. The ergonomics are not great on it. But, the EM1 Mark II, the EM1 series in particular have amazing ergonomics and are just superior to everything I've ever used. And, the menu systems, yeah, are not great, but the ergonomics are what matter to me. And I just can't compare. It's just God, now I'm getting all flustered. That's how I look at cameras now, is I look at the ergonomics and the features that it has. And then I can say, okay, I'll get this. And the ZFC would have been more of a vanity purchase. Not a camera I need, but I think it's gorgeous, right? Beautiful camera. until I held it. And then that's when I lost my zest for that camera, unfortunately. So don't worry about, if you feel like there's new technology coming out that's making Olympus, a little dated, right? A little long in the tooth. The sensor's been around forever. The menu system certainly has been around since they started. And those are the two main drawbacks to the Olympus, right? Is they're using a lot of dated components relative to what people are making now. But that's not to say that it doesn't take amazing pictures. I mean, it takes fantastic pictures, and it has very unique features that you're not going to find in any other camera, especially the M1 Mark III, at similar price points. Because let me circle back to the Canon M50 now that I've had it for a week. Is that thing is suffering from major cripple hammer. I didn't realize how much so until I actually started to. I said, okay, I'm going to teach this class, and I want to teach this trick or concept or feature, and I'm like, ooh, this doesn't have that. So, for example, I wanted to do I did a class on flash, and it's like, ooh, it doesn't have rear curtain sync option. It's like, man, even EM10 Mark II has a rear curtain sync option, So that was the most recent one. But the other things, like it doesn't have in-camera multiple exposure, like our EM10s, which are at basically the same price point. Doesn't have, image stabilization except in the lens. It didn't have, God, what were some other features? There were just some things that just caught me off guard, like, oh, silent shutter. You can only use silent shutter in program mode. You can't like use it as like a separate shutter mode. It has to be activated, or it can only be activated when you go into a certain mode on the camera. So I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it. And I'm just getting started with the camera, and it's missing so many things. I mean, besides the obvious ones that everybody pointed out, how the 4K video is cropped and it doesn't have the dual pixel autofocus when you're using 4K. I mean, they pick out the obvious things, but there's little things in the menu system. No intervalometer. I mean, there's just little things that you run across, and you're like, man, And I had to get a Canon camera because every class, it's about 90% Canon users. Like my last class, I had, I think, 12 people. Out of them, it was like 8 of them were Canon, 2 were Nikon, 1 was Olympus, and 1 was Dave with a Pentax, if I remember correctly. So I have to get to know how to use Canon, so I'm not standing there for 15 minutes trying to show them how to turn on silent shutter. Because that's what happened one time. I was like, man, I have no idea how to do it. So I need to be able to quickly get through. Nikon I'm familiar with, Fuji and Panasonic. I'm familiar with just about everything except Canon. Canon I have no experience with, because I've never owned a Canon camera other than the little pocket point and shoots that I've had, that I've had forever, that I just took pictures for fun. I didn't take pictures just for, this was before cell phones had cameras in them. That's how old these Canon point and shoots I have are. But okay, let me talk. Let me catch up on the chat here. Jimmy Engel says, My wife bought me a camera for my birthday and know absolutely nothing about photography, and I'm working through your videos to try to learn something. Oh, okay. Awesome, Jimmy. I'm glad my videos will help. If you got like, a lot of my tutorials are a little bit dated now because they're on the EM10 Mark II, or most of them. Some on the EM5 Mark III and EM1 Mark II and 3, but um, the core of my tutorials are actually on the EM10 Mark II, which is, that's a 5-year-old camera now. Unfortunately, 90% of the stuff does translate to the newer models, but still, I don't have anything too current. I'm waiting for, I don't know, maybe waiting for a Pen F2. I should do tutorials on the M1 Mark III. Which camera do you have, Jimmy? And then I can give some thought about doing some tutorials again. And Andrew says, as a foreign, see, I told you a lot of you guys are in tech, right? Recommend an offsite backup, either in the cloud or physically offsite. If your house burns down, you're done. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you care about your photos, that's the way to do it. You got to have, like, in theory, I should have, like, since I have 2 hard drives for everything, I should put 1 hard drive, say, over at my mom's house or my sister's house, so that if my house burns down, I can go to their house and get my pictures, right? That would be the correct way to do it, or the best way, definitely. That's always a concern. Cloud backup's a little trickier because of the cost and the time it takes to back things up. The initial drawdown is the initial upload can take days, and if you lose if you lose everything and need to download everything again, it can take days. Except some companies, what they'll do is they'll put it on a hard drive for you and mail it to you if you want all your backups. I forget who used to do that, but yeah, cloud backups, I've never been a fan of cloud backup, but definitely off-site. If not cloud, off-site is a great idea. And I thought I saw one more. Yeah, System Matura has a lot of videos he cares about, so he wouldn't want to lose those, that's for sure. And oh yeah, here we go. Terry says, I shoot EM1X and the AF is really not holding up against the other players. So what I would tell you is, because I don't shoot, money no object. There probably are better cameras for autofocus out there, but I haven't tested them. And never base your decisions on anything that you see on YouTube, certainly. But if you do have an opportunity to rent one, if we're talking about a $4,000 to $6,000 purchase, it may behoove you to rent a system for a weekend. It'll cost you $300-400 for a high-end system at least. And just try it for yourself and see if you get better results with it. And if it does, then definitely get it. But yeah, because my problem is the EM10 Mark II contrasted deck, 5 or 6 year old camera. My hit rate is like 50% with birds in flight. And EM1 Mark III, which is not too dissimilar from the M1X in terms of autofocus capability, my hit rate is closer to 70%, maybe more, maybe less. But the problem is me, right? I'm not going from 50% to 100% or 90% because my skill set's, just not there. So if you have a pretty high skill set and you rent a Z9 with, whatever has the latest and greatest, right, for autofocus, and your hit rate goes up, and then that may be worth it, right? But I caution people that are just getting started in photography and buying high-end gear when they don't have the skill set to tell the difference. You know what I mean? Because I guarantee somebody with a very high skill set in bird photography, for example, could take an EM10 Mark II and probably get a 90% hit rate. And then if they take the EM1 Mark III, they might get a 95% hit rate. And that would be justification to upgrade for them, because they can tell the difference, even 5%, right? I'm just not there. And and obviously beginning photographers cannot tell that much difference, because their skill set's so low. No matter what camera you give them, their hit rate's going to be 5%. You know what I mean? So if you know what you're capable of on the EM1X, and you're very confident of your maximum hit rate. So if your maximum hit rate, say I'm only hitting 75-80% with my EM1X, and you rent a Z9 with the great lenses, and your hit rate goes to say 85-90%, and you can tell because you know what you're capable of personally, right, of achieving, then definitely that would make sense. For me, if I was into hardcore bird photography and I rent a Z9 and my hit rate goes, say my EM1 Mark III, I'm at 70%, and my hit rate goes to 90% with the EM1 Mark III, then I know it wasn't my skill set holding me back. It was the camera, right? Because now my hit rate's 90+% because I have this other camera. So yeah, I know a lot of people, oh my God, they cannot, they just have no, they're not there yet, is all I'm saying. And a more expensive camera is not going to help them. Okay. But good conversation on that. I think definitely it deserved a little time on the stream to talk about, higher end cameras, newer cameras that potentially are much better cameras in terms of autofocus anyway. But you have to kind of qualify that. How good a photographer are you? Are you a beginner? Yeah, you're not going to get better pictures, and you're not going to have a higher hit rate necessarily with a better camera. Andrew says, if I had to change, I think I'd go Fuji. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question too, right? Yeah, Randy's talking about the DF. Yeah, DF is on my short list because I have well, not a lot, but I have quite a few Nikon F-mount lenses laying around. And if a DF comes into the camera store locally here for sale used, I'll trade in my D750 and get that. I just don't have a need for the D750, but the DF, man, that would be a fun camera to have. It's very, it's very retro, right? And Andrew says, if I had to change systemite from MFT, I'd go Fuji. That's a good question for me too, actually. I mean, Fuji's certainly a fine camera. I have an XT30 and I have a couple other point and shoot Fujis. I never had any problems with the image quality. Just ergonomics, I just wasn't a big fan of on the XT30. I like their new X10 or whatever. One of their cameras now that they have out, I really like. But I don't know. I might, if it were me, I'd probably go back to Nikon. If I couldn't do MFT anymore, I would probably go back to Nikon. Um, I like their Z7 and Z6. I like those cameras, and I wouldn't go Sony mostly because I just don't like them. How they look. I don't like the menu systems, but I like the Nikons. I feel like they're just a little more ergonomic and a little better looking camera. So interesting. Fuji is tough. They're it's just a little bit off for me. The ergonomics and the looks and design of the camera just don't quite mesh with my mojo. I don't know how to explain it with my lifestyle. But Nikon definitely, I feel like I would probably go there. And if I totally switch to Nikon, then a ZFC might be in the picture, um, because I'd be all Nikon and be fine. But because I'm mostly Olympus right now, adding a ZFC, it has to do something more than just look good. It has to feel good in the hand. But if I was already a Nikon shooter with Z glass everywhere, yeah, maybe a ZFC might be fun to have. Hmm. Oh, Spog is here from Barossa Valley in South Australia. Awesome. Not Australian. You should check out Roberto. He's in Australia. I don't know what parts, but. And then Andrew says, none of the pens have great ergonomics, but an accessory grip is a must for the Pen F. Yes, I definitely got a grip on mine. I got one of the wood handle ones. It looks great, and that makes a big difference in the ergonomics. Oops, hit the wrong button. Yes, Randy says the same. As long as my OMDs keep working, always take awesome photos. I know. I mean, it's really frustrating when I was like doing I wanted to do a class on double exposure, but a lot of the entry level Canons, which is the majority of my class, they have entry level Canons. It doesn't have double exposure feature in it. In camera, you have to take two pictures and do it in post. Why did I say that? What's this? Size, weight, balance, and overall feel is important to me. I prefer EM1 Mark III to the M1X, particularly for carry on all day. And shooting, yeah, system. I think System Mature has the bazooka lens from Olympus, right? The 150 to 400, man, that is no joke. Both in price, right? The price is, but I bet you get some amazing images. And yeah, the EM1X or the EM1 Mark III is amazing. And if I need a little, if I need a little extra grip, I'd go for the EM. I would just buy a grip for the M1 Mark III. But the M1X has its own advantages. Being a solid all one piece system is going to be more rugged, more durable, for extreme environments, certainly. Yeah, the PenF, the EVF, if you're left eye dominant, yeah, it's definitely, there's a problem. Big grease mark on the rear screen from my nose, yes. I'll flip the screen over so that the plastic side shows. Oh, Terry Noon. Hey, how are you? Terry, thanks for the email again. Terry emailed me yesterday. He says, "What happened Sunday? You okay?" And yeah, I'm fine. I started teaching, so Sundays are going to be pretty much out for a while. And as a John Yutze says, as a still shooter from 2015, cameras from 2015 to 16 still served me quite well. Not interested in full frame mirrorless. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, really nothing. Sensor size is really one of the last things I consider when I think about cameras. It's the very last thing. I mean, if a little micro, not even micro four thirds, but like the TG5, somebody had a comment about TG5, TG6. I missed it. But even like the TG5, I love that little camera. TG5, TG6, and it takes great images. And at least I think so. I'm very happy with the images I got from it. And, and the fact that it has that tiny, tiny sensor doesn't faze me at all. Because it's not a cheap camera, it's like $400 camera. Maybe you get it on sale for that, less than that, but still, it's not a cheap camera. And tiny sensor, but it's just a great, fun, durable little camera. And the sensor size doesn't faze me at all. That's the last thing I think about. And that's a great example of why sensor size doesn't matter, in my opinion, in terms of buying a camera. The TG6, TG5 is just a great camera, regardless of the sensor size. I don't know if I can find whoever made a comment. Oh, here it is. No. Yeah, whoever made a comment about the TG6, I'm sorry I missed that. I saw it and then somehow it got scrolled off and I forgot. But anybody has a TG5, TG6, chime in. Let me know what you think about it. I mean, I really like that camera. I should take it out more. Yeah, and with software like DxO Pure Raw and others, older MFT sensors can still hang in there. Yeah, definitely. I use the PhotoLab 4 Elite because it gives me a lot more options than Pure Raw by itself. So I don't recommend Pure Raw from DxO. I recommend the PhotoLab 4 Elite. And if you guys haven't tried that software, I have a link down below, my affiliate link, to download a free trial. And it's on sale now for like $149. So that's good. I mean, it goes, the full price is $200, but it only sells at $200 for a couple of weeks before they have another sale at like $149. At least the last 3 months I've been watching it, because I purchased it about 2 months ago. I guess it's been almost 2 months, maybe a month and a half. But I've been looking at it because I had a 30-day trial before that. So I had it for those 30 days. And then even before the trial expired, I purchased it. I was just sold on PhotoLab 4 Elite. And I went all in with the film pack and the perspective correction. All of it, I think, is great, And it was not a hard decision, actually. After I used it for a while. And I don't part with $270 easily for software, especially, right? Because you can get all kinds of free stuff, which is great. Raw Therapy. What's the other one? Darktable. There's a lot of amazing free software out there. There's almost no need to buy anything. But that's the only software that just impressed me enough that I had to buy it. And the processing and the images that I can do now, even on low ISO images, I use it on my base ISO images. I apply the Pure Raw, or what do they call it, the Deep Prime. It just makes a big difference in the crispness and the sharpness of the image. I mean, some people may not care about that stuff, right? If they may like just the straight out of camera JPEG, and if they do any raw processing, it's just a little touch crop here, right? Then yeah, DxO makes no sense at all. But for me, I'm not a big person. I'm not big on post processing, but I was just so impressed with it that I use it now in my professional work. I export everything out with deep prime, even though I shoot at base ISO 200, just to get a little bit sharper. I'm delivering better images now with that software than I ever have to my clients. And obviously, for my own personal photos, it definitely translates to me being happier with the images. Whether anybody else can tell or not, I don't know, but I know I'm much happier with some of the images I put out. And that said, I say I'm like 80-90 or 80-20. 80% of the time I just use the straight out of camera JPEG, but there's some images I'm like, ooh, if I can just make this a little better, like my butterfly and dragonfly images, where I'm at like ISO 3200 because I need a shutter speed of 1/2000th of a second. That software just brings the detail back and cuts the noise. It's amazing. It's amazing. Anyway, oh, Jimmy, you got an EM10 Mark II. Okay, then yeah, all of the tutorials are perfect for you. Exactly. Yep. Lots of stuff on EM10 Mark II. Yeah, Arthur, we've had this conversation, right? The flip out screen is great for videography, and for some photography, it's handy. But yeah, I think the tilt screen, if I only did photography only, the tilt screen would be the way to go for me, rather than the flip out. I agree with you there. The EPL7 is, you might want to think about the EPL7, Arthur, because that has the flip down screen, but it's basically a tilt screen, but it can flip all the way down. Not that you care about that part, but it'll just tilt. And that might be a good option. It's got all the features of the Pen F basically with the color wheel and stuff. You might like that one if it's available in your country. Keep an eye out for that. That would be a nice upgrade to your EM10 Mark II if you're still shooting with that. That little EPL7, that would be an awesome upgrade for you. Oh, Johnny Depp, really? That's interesting. Huh. Yeah, he's major time hipster though, right? But it is a great camera. And this looks like a question from Spog. Why is it that with a 20 megapixel camera, the M1 II, I can't get a photo anywhere near this? Generally only 16 or at 17 megapixels. I have the camera set to best settings. Spog, the only way I can answer that question really is if you email me one of your raw images. My email is easy, rob@robtrek.com. But send me a raw image, and if you have it, the corresponding JPEG image, because that doesn't make sense to me, because there are a couple of settings in the camera that would limit the size when you're shooting JPEG, but the raw image should always be 20 megapixels. And if you're shooting JPEG, you want to make sure that your setting says LSF, large superfine, in the super control panel. Then that should be a 20 megapixel JPEG. But if you're getting 16 or 17, that doesn't make sense to me. And maybe if you send me a raw image, I can diagnose it a little more. Send me a raw and a JPEG, and then maybe I can diagnose it for you. But yeah, there's nothing, without seeing those, I don't know if I can answer that. Oh, photos, don't worry about it. I mean, it's it's only a couple bucks. when you guys buy stuff off my affiliate links. It's not a big deal. I appreciate it though. If yeah, photos. Excuse me. I ate some pizza yesterday, so now I got all this phlegm. Ugh. Getting old sucks, man. I could eat like 2-3 pizzas a day and not have any issues, but now like I just have a slice and I'm just okay here. Oh, Seraphin's here. Hi, Seraphin. And Annette Johansson's here. Hello. And wow, there's a boatload of messages came in. Wow, a lot of messages. Hold on. Phil is here. Jimmy Angles. Angeles. Okay, that's where I kind of left off. Get a Synology multi-bay drive, have backup similar. Wow. You guys are talking about backups. And then Lucilla says, new tech always means better. Many are go faster stripes. It's actually improvement that count. Didn't the guy from Narrowband Channel squash the notion that Olympus sensors have not changed? I'm not sure. Because Olympus has been using, the same batch of sensors for a long time. But I did watch that video from Chris and Jordan about they compared the Sony 45 megapixel sensor versus the Sony 20 or 24 megapixel, whatever their full frame sensors are, and saying that, there's no more noise in a high megapixel sensor camera than there is in a low megapixel camera. And it was relative to what you cropped in. Because they said when you compare it 100%, yeah, you can see the difference. But when you compare it in the same size format, that the noise is similar, if not the same, right? And I think the way I understand sensors are designed, right, is you have a block, you have a wafer, right? It's a disc, silicon disc, and they etch out the individual sensors on this wafer disc. So you end up with, 100 or so, whatever the number is. Once you divide it out, squares out of this wafer disc, you have these little sensors. And it doesn't matter what they're cutting. If they're cutting full frames, medium format, micro four thirds, they're cutting it from this silicon wafer disc. And that silicon wafer disc, right, is the same regardless of sensor size, for example. I mean, I know there's different quality wafer discs, but they're going to use the highest quality disc they can for whatever sensor size they're cutting out. So now they cut out this one square sensor, right? And then they start to layer on the micro lenses and the wires. So an individual pixel on a sensor is not actually etched in, so to speak. It's just how they lay the wires. So if they lay more wires down, crisscross, they crisscross like this. You have a sense, you have a pixel. If they want to make it a high megapixel sensor, they just lay the wires closer together. You have a smaller pixel area. But the amount of noise and light that hits the sensor is exactly the same, especially with a backside illuminated sensor where they lay the wires behind the silicon and not on top of it, right? So the wires are not in the way. All they have are the micro lenses. So it kind of makes sense to me that whether they cut out a micro four thirds, or they cut out a full frame sensor, or they cut out two full frame sensors and they just lay down wires for 24 megapixels, or they lay down wires for 45 megapixels, the noise coming off that sensor is going to be exactly the same because it's the same silicon that's capturing the light. It's just a matter of how they're distributed when you look at them on a screen. And if you're looking at two images from each, if you're looking at an image from each sensor, one should not have more noise than the other. But when you zoom in, because I bet if you zoomed in on 24 megapixel sensor, well, actually they compared a 12 megapixel sensor and a 45. If you zoomed in on the 12 megapixel sensor so that it was the same size as the 45 megapixel sensor, you would see the same amount of noise or more noise on the 12 megapixel sensor because it's just the way they scaled it. I'm not articulating this well at all. But my point being is that, Sony's using the same silicon wafer for cutting out their full frame chips. Once the chips are cut out and they lay down, and all they do is lay the wires on top or on the bottom. If it's backside, they lay the wires on the bottom of the sensor or on the bottom of the silicon. That silicon is not going to capture more or less noise than any other silicon, chip, because they're cut from the same cloth, so to speak. It's okay. I'm not going to talk about it anymore because I'm not articulating it well. But if you watch that video, that was my take on it, was that it makes sense because the chips are cut from the same silicon wafer. It's just how do they lay the wires on them to get 12 megapixels or 24 or 45 megapixels, whatever. How they lay the wires on them is irrelevant. Aside from all the little technical things about, proximity and things like that might cause noise, right? Okay, my God. Yeah, that's good. Hit rate of 75%. That's awesome. Yeah, there's so many focus settings and everything in the M1X that you can mess with, definitely, to kind of tweak. I just set some AF limits for my EM1 Mark II. Didn't test them yet, but I've told that it helps much. Yes, it does. It does help when you limit. What he's talking about is you can tell the camera not to focus closer than 30 meters, right? Only focus things that are 30 meters to 100 meters. So you limit the range of focus so it's faster. And speaking of 5-year-old EM10 Mark II, I've enabled LSF and shoot LFS plus RAW in the super control panel. There are 4 options. What are the difference between those 4 choices, if any? There's no difference, Thomas. If you go into the display menu, I think it's menu D, you can change what each of those 4 boxes are. So you can change it from LSF for box 1, box 2. In the EM1 Mark II, box 2 is the default setting. But if you change them all four to LSF, then you don't have to worry about mistakenly selecting the wrong JPEG quality. This doesn't affect your RAWs at all, no matter what setting you put in the JPEG boxes. The JPEG boxes being LSF, MSF, LF, SF. There's all kinds of different settings, and those only affect your JPEG. But I tend to put LSF in all four, so that if I'm scrolling through, I don't accidentally select the wrong JPEG setting, because I do a lot of straight out of camera JPEG stuff for my personal stuff. So yeah, there's no difference though. If they all say LSF, you're going to get the exact same image no matter which one you select. Oh, started shooting birds with flash. Way cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a great technique to use flash with your for bird photography. I'll definitely check those out. I actually, my flash for beginners course, I did talk about using flash for bird photography, and I gave some examples. It does make a big difference. And XS10 is nice. It has Pro Capture like feature, but only got a UHS-1 card. Oh, and a tiny buffer. Lacking focus stacking. XT4 is closer to where I want to be if I'm switching. Yeah. Yeah, XT4 is really nice. I don't know if it has a UHS-2 card though. That's the amazing thing, is Olympus put UHS-2 cards in there, even in their entry-level cameras. I don't think the pens have it though, the lower end pens. I don't think so, but certainly the OMDs, no matter which one you get, has UHS-2. Okay, here it is. Might be about the TG6. It's such an interesting, quirky camera. Got the macro flash diffuser for, but mainly using it with kayaking. Yeah, I didn't buy any of the accessories for it. I did buy I did buy an adapter so I could put a polarizer on it, the lens ring adapter, but that's it. And Roberto says, "What about medium format?" Oof. I don't know. One day I'd like to get a medium format camera. But it's so out of my budget that I just can't even consider it. But I think the rangefinder style from Fuji, I think the used ones are going for $3,000, but still, golly, $3,000 for just a camera that I'll take out once in a blue moon. I just don't have that kind of scratch laying around. I need a lot of other things. Like my monitor here is about 8 years old. I need to replace it. And I'd like to get a couple of things I'd like to get long before I get a medium format. So if you're asking if I'm interested in medium format, I would love to have one, but it's just out of my budget. If you're asking about any image quality or technical advantages it might have, or image quality advantages it might have, I don't think it has any really. I mean, people talk about the medium format look and the kind of colors and everything you get, but I honestly don't see it in the images I look at online. Because I've looked at images. I mean, they're gorgeous images, but I don't see it. I think the 100 megapixel medium format, the detail I've seen people squeeze out of that is freaking amazing. But at 50 megapixels, I'm thinking, I don't know if it's worth it. I would definitely get a 100 megapixel image sensor. But by the time I can afford a medium format 100 megapixel sensor camera, There'll be a micro four thirds camera or a full frame camera. There'll be a much more affordable camera out with the same number of megapixels, right? That will get nearly as sharp as. I'm sure people have done comparisons. Like, my Panasonic S5 has a high res shot mode in it that I think is over 100 megapixels. I've never tried it, but that would be. I'll have to try that and see. I wonder how that would look. Problem is, I just have a kit lens, so I don't know if a kit lens can even resolve over 100 megapixels, right? And I do have several 100 megapixel images, but I did that by, panning and stitching back together, so that I took multiple images and just stitched them back together, and now it's 100 plus megapixels. And that's the same thing as using a medium format, pretty much. Just a lot of work in post processing, but not, so it's not the same in that sense. But and I changed from a heavy GH4 and large Nautica water undercase to a TG6. Works great for video and photos, so much easier. Yes. Yeah, that's a huge difference, man. TG5 or TG6? The underwater case is only a little bigger than the camera itself, the ones I've seen. Yes, definitely. I mean, the thing about using. Oh, I'm sorry. Terry says, I agree. PL4 is great, but Topaz Denoise AI and Sharpen AI is good for non-raw. And together they make, yes. That Topaz Sharpen AI, I used it in my last live stream, photo editing live stream. Man, that thing is, if you got the right image, it's perfect for those. The results, it's not going to do miracles, but when it does work, it's amazing. Yeah, the Sharpen AI, I love the Sharpen AI. The Denoise AI, definitely, if you need the flexibility of working with non-raw images and things, it's the only game in town that's any good. I haven't tried On1. I'll have to contact On1. They said they would give me a free copy of anything they have for review. Because I did do a video comparing On1's no noise software, and they've done a few revisions since then, so it's better now. So I might have to get them to send me a free copy because my trial expired. So I can't do any more comparisons. Yeah, I just did that one. Oh, okay, Arthur. I'll look for that. Thank you. I can't remember what you promised me before, but I'll look for it. And Marsha's here. Hello. Good to see you. Yeah, Marsha in Florida. Oh, I need to get down there one day. My sister's going down to Orlando area. You're in the southeast, so you're closer to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, right? And the Hasselblad H60-100C is your true medium format look. You'll spend $33,000 for it. The Fujifilm is smaller cropped me. Oh, okay, that's good to know. I forgot about that. You're right. Yeah, my car didn't even cost $33,000. Man, my car was easily $10,000 less than that. Brand new. Wow. Says I still use a 1.7 sensor, point and shoot time to time. Images are fine. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the 1.7 inch sensors were pretty cool. They gave a nice little bump, just a little bit of a bump over the 2/3, but you could see it. in your images, that it was a better quality image in terms of noise. Definitely. I have a Fuji film pocket camera from, I don't know, 2003 or 2004. I don't know. It's a really old pocket camera that uses that. And I also have an Olympus ZX2, I think it's called, that has that. And that's another camera I need to take out more. I got too many freaking cameras. I see, I paid like $100 for that thing. And I'm like, $100, it'd be kind of cool to have. And then I only took it out twice. Kind of like my Panasonic, and price has nothing to do with how often I take a camera out, because I got a Panasonic S5 that has been sitting in my dry box all year. Like, I haven't taken it out at all. And that's I paid $2,300 for that thing, and it hasn't seen the light of day all year. I'd almost rather take my Pentax out than my S5. Not that anything wrong with the S5, but yeah, North Fort Lauderdale. Yes. Yeah, I used to go to Florida all the time. I should road trip it. I still have friends in Florida. I haven't talked to them much. Well, one I haven't talked to since last year. And the other one, yeah, it's been a few months since I talked to her. But yeah, I still have friends down there. I mean, I can visit, stop by and see you, stop by, see a couple other friends. That would be cool. That'd be a nice road trip. Maybe when it gets out of hurricane season, I'll come down. Oh no. What are you talking about, Nigel? She doesn't know anything about photography. I think we're having a family crisis here because of you. Why? I don't want to cause any drama at home. But hi, Nigel's wife. How you doing? And it's a friendly how you doing, not how you doing. Yeah, the M10 Mark II is an amazing little camera. It has everything in it. They didn't hold back anything in terms of features. You can push that camera to its limit, and you can expand your photography as much as you want with that little camera. It doesn't hold you back at all. It says, so I tried JPEG and shot at low ISO and one at ISO 24,000 or so. High ISO was 20K bigger. My guess, I mean, I've never really paid attention to file sizes, but my guess would be because the image has a lot of colors in it because of the noise, there's a lot of data, from that color noise that's adding up to the big file size, right? That would be my only guess. Oh, the low ISO is bigger. Okay. So this is one of those things where somebody asks you a question, and you find the statistics to back up your answer, no matter what the answer is. You can always find statistics to back you up, right? So if you're saying the low ISO is bigger, I don't know. Yeah. Then my answer would be because there's much more dynamic range in the low ISO images. It's not being compressed because of the high ISO, but because of the low ISO has much more big dynamic range, it has a lot more data to work with. So that's my second answer. I guess they're both correct in a way, right? Because if you take a picture of just a completely black image, this would be a good test. Take a picture of a completely black image, then take a picture of a completely white image, and then maybe take a picture of a completely red image, right? And just compare all three file sizes. and see. And then do the same thing. Take a picture of a black image, just completely black, like the lens cap is on. Shoot it at ISO 200, shoot it at ISO 24,000. If I had a camera laying here, I would do it. And see which file size is bigger. I mean, how it's like one of those like Trivial Pursuit type things, right? Like, does it really matter what size is bigger? I mean, I guess out of academic curiosity, why would that be the case? And that would be the best answer I can give you. But I don't know, to be honest, why. I'm just guessing. Nigel is in Deerfield, Florida. Okay. Oh, Marcia says she's near 3 wetlands. So lots of crocodiles or alligators. I forget which one it is down there. But lots of big birds, right? And prey. Those big fishing type birds with the long beaks, like oh my God, where's blue herons and cranes and things. The bird life in Florida is amazing. When I went to Florida, I took some of the best pictures of birds out there. I bet it's right here too. Let me see. I think it's in one of these photo books. Yeah, this is. I took these. Man, you can't see jack with the green screen. Let me turn it off. Come on, wrong button. There. Yeah, these are my pictures from 2005. When I was in Florida. Last time I was in Florida, 2005. There's some butterflies and another bird. I took these with my little pocket Fuji camera. Yeah, I did lots of butterfly stuff though when I was in Florida. There's a picture of me when I was young. 2005. This is Rob Trek in 2005. But look at the bird over here on the right. This is I don't know what this is, but they have lots of birds like this everywhere in Florida. It's really freaking amazing. And let me go back to the chat window. Why is this not coming on? Let me turn off the green screen. Yeah. Let's see. Like look at this bird. It's another one. Yeah, do they still have this restaurant down there? The top here rotates around. When you're inside, it's a restaurant that rotates around. I wonder if that's still there from 2005. See, this is from I went to the top, and this is a picture from that rotating restaurant. It was really cool. And I went to the Coral Castle down in Florida. And man, check out those shorts. I was all into Florida, man. That's more like a Hawaiian type short, but I paid like $3 for those shorts somewhere. I remember that. They were so cheap, but I loved them. One of my girlfriends at the time, she hated those shorts. Yeah, and look at the flowers they have in Florida. I mean, amazing. Oh, you don't know if it's still functioning? The 17th Street Causeway. Ah, yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's one. I don't know what's in here. Ooh, picture of my old girlfriend back then. She was nice. Hated my shorts, but she liked. But she was wow. She was pretty hot. Of course, everybody looks good when they're like, in their 20s, right? And these are film pictures anyway. Yeah, so my printer died on me, both of them. I have a wide format printer. Yeah, I was a player back then. I hate to say it. When I was young, man, I had money, and I worked out a lot, so I was in really good shape. So I definitely punched above my weight back then, because these women they were way out of my league, really. Certainly now they would be. Let me turn my green screen. I like my IT crowd. Which, like, now, man, I would love to have like somebody like Jen as a girlfriend. Not Jen in the show, but well, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I thought Jen was pretty hot in IT crowd. Yeah, time gets us all, right? Time gets us all. But I can tell you that because of photography, I mean, I wasn't really a photographer back when I took these photos. Like I said, I just bought a little pocket camera. Oh my God, look at this, my ID card. I better not show that because there might be some personal information. Wow. Whew. Wow. These are some awesome shots of her. Can't share these. Polaroids. This is probably 1999 or earlier. Oh, wait, 1995. I dated them. It says right here at the bottom, I wrote here 1995. Wow, crazy times. It's another picture I can't show you guys. Ooh. Boy, if you guys... Anyway. Crazy times. Oh, I haven't tried, Randy. Let me check. Where's my YouTube here? Oops. So let me get to the right screen here. So try this. Yeah, this one's in HD. But this one I was having problem with. I think it was this one. Now it's HD.
Well, howdy, folks. Got myself up
Yeah.
real early
I was having problems with that one. I think this was the main one. And this one only does 720. But yeah, when I was watching this one, Best Laid Plans. Oh, look. Yeah, 480p. That's it. That's all it lets me do. I don't know why. How about the other one? This one does 1080. But this one, part 2, is only 480 for me still. I have no idea why. Oops, where's the... Okay. Days of Rob's Live coming up soon. Oh boy, I tell you. I mean, I know we all have stories. I have I just have meaningless stories and a meaningless life, when compared to what a lot of you have done in your lives. So I'm not proud of anything I've done in my life, I'm going to try and make up for it now with teaching and doing as much as I can, but my past has been pretty meaningless for the most part. Like nobody would be interested at all. Just a couple of fun stories here and there, and that's about it. But no accomplishments to speak of. My life's just been a train wreck, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah, I'm right? I like that. You are right, Rob. It's 480p. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. You must have uploaded it funny. But whenever someone says I'm right, I like it not because I'm right, but because it always reminds me of a joke about that I heard, a math joke, right? I'm always the hypotenuse opposite. Yeah, I'm always the angle opposite the hypotenuse, is what I used to say, right? And instead of saying I'm right, I would just say I'm the angle opposite the hypotenuse. And if I was, in the right context, right, I got to be with people that know math a little bit. But yeah, I'm always the angle opposite the hypotenuse. Yeah, definitely, Randy. We've all been there, right? I mean, I don't know anybody that would look back on their life and say I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, I've yet to meet someone like that. I'm sure they're out there, but uh, yeah. Ooh, okay. Well, this is a good time to probably cut out because we're coming up on 2 hours, and I need to start working on my curriculum for my class. I'm going to try and translate that curriculum into new videos for the channel. Hopefully it translates well. I don't know about live in-person class. I'd like to actually stream the class live. I think once I get my curriculum down and a rhythm and some momentum, I may just start streaming my classrooms live. But I don't want to do it now because I'll be in the middle of a presentation. I'm like, oh, I got to change this for the next class because this is a little bit off, or I could explain this a little better. So I might start doing that though. And But yeah, definitely I can, because if I make a video, I can always edit, cut, retake. Very simple. But in a classroom setting, you don't have edit, cut, retake, right? It's just live, kind of like these live streams. But on the live streams, it's, we're just talking, right? It's not an instructional type thing. So it's okay to just sit down and turn on the computer and jibber jabber. But in a class, if I'm actually trying to teach something, it needs to be kind of organized, structured, and all of that. So, but I think I would do that. Tony B wouldn't change a thing. That's awesome. That is awesome. I wish I could say that. Uh, but it's good. Now I know somebody that wouldn't change a thing. And I believe you. Honestly, I do. Okay, you guys. You guys have a good rest of your week. I'll be back on Friday with a live photo editing stream. So I'll try and post that up today so you guys can start submitting your pictures. And like I said, if you want to be in a collaboration live stream, I'm gonna try and get at least 4, if not 5 or 6 of you guys, viewers, to collaborate with me on the stream. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. But other than that, until next time, just remember I'll probably be doing Tuesdays now instead of Sundays, and that's the only last thing I can say. So you guys have a good rest of the week until we see you again.